This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our ANCAN Blood Cancer Support Group. It's October 3rd, 2024, and I'm so happy to see everyone here. I was under the weather last month after getting my vaccine, which I was down and out for a few days, but I'm back and here. So let's see. Do we have any newbies this evening? We do not, but let's go around and see who needs time this evening. Uh, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go down versus across. So Judy, do you need time to speak this evening?
Not really. I could speak maybe a couple of minutes, but that's it.
Okay. All right. Barbell.
I can also say a little bit something since I haven't been here for a long time.
I know. I want to hear. Jerry.
I got something on COVID.
Oh, okay. So we'll come back to you, Lynn. You were muted. Two. He said two something.
Yeah, two something. I've got two questions for the group, and I can share a little bit too as well.
Terrific. Rick, you have anything to share with us? Jim. Jim, do you have anything to share this? Oh, Jim's frozen.
Yeah.
I'll come back to Jim and ask. Mary.
No, I don't.
Mary, your hair is different this evening, darker now. Is this your fall look?
I guess it is.
I never know what color mine will end up being myself, so it's always a surprise to me too. Nancy.
Maybe just a few minutes.
Thank you for being here. And Al, yes.
Yeah, maybe a couple minutes.
Okay. Jim, are you unfrozen?
He still looks frozen.
Oh.
Maybe he'd come back now, turned off his video.
Jim, can you hear us? Oh, maybe he'll sign back in.
Going out and coming back in.
Something could be going on here. Okay. So, and do I have anything to share? Yes, just a little, if we have time. I always forget about me. All right, and we'll see if anyone else joins. Okay, so let's start with Barbell because it has been so long.
Well, I've been in the hospital for 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
And actually nobody thought I would make it back home, but here I am. And I'm doing okay. You know, my hemoglobin went up again, 10.7 it's now. I have another checkup on October 9th. I think it will keep going up, but I'm still fighting cancer cells, you know, with venetoclax, so I'll hope I'll beat them.
Wait, Barbell, go back. I didn't hear you. You gave a value, but I didn't hear what it was for.
Hemoglobin.
Your white
Hemoglo-
blood count or your
Well,
hemoglobin?
I got really sick. That was in the end of, I think, was it June? I think it was already June. I had a fever. I didn't know I had a fever. But my sister-in-law, my former sister-in-law, she called her son, who is my GP, and she said, "You have to look, she's not doing well." And he came and he looked at me and he said, "You're on a fever, you have to go to the hospital." So I went there and they found out that I have all kinds of bacteria in the blood, which needed treatment. So I got over 70 antibiotic infusions, and one of these bacteria was Staphylococcus aureus, which is a very dangerous one because it can affect the heart. It took a while until I beat it, and then they started with the venetoclax. And my hemoglobin actually improved. But then overnight, all of a sudden, it dropped back to 6.5. I had 5 when I entered the clinic. So, well, I was already not in the hospital anymore, so I made an appointment at the university clinic in Ulm. And they said right away, you have to stay. So they did some more antibiotics until all the bacteria were gone, and they upramped venetoclax. And what happened was it always went down a little bit, the erythrocytes, then it stabilized, and then it went back up. So we kept doing this until I was on 400 milligrams. And well, then they sent me home. And since then, my hemoglobin has been improving. I'm doing okay, but I'm still a bit weak. You know, if you're in a hospital for 2 months and you have 6 infusions per day, 3 during the day, 3 at night, you become very weak. So I'm going to rehab at the middle of October. I'm still waiting exactly when and how long. Usually it's 3 weeks, but my daughter-in-law said it's 42 days, so I'll have to wait. So I get a little bit more fit, but I can do everything here in the house. I need a little bit of help, but which I did before already because I was getting weaker and weaker. What they found out was I had a few cells, 13% in the blood, but they had different cytogenetics. And then they did a BMB, and I had 90% infiltration. So that meant we have to beat the cells in the marrow, and venetoclax does that. So that's why we went on venetoclax. The ones in the lymph node were not so much. 13% is hardly anything. I mean, if a doctor looked at it, he would probably say, "You go and watch and wait," because they were indolent and also did not have the markers that I normally have, like trisomy 12, CD38, you know. They didn't have that. It was only in the marrow. So
What
we
about your
started beating, you know, the marrow in a way. And when you remove cancer cells in the marrow, there is enough room so the other cells can recover. And that's actually what's happening. I had no major issue with platelets or other uh, blood cells, but the erythrocytes, they really caused issues because I was down to 5 hemoglobin, but now I'm 10.7, so I'm
so they're
okay.
getting
But
cancer?
I had 13 and 14 before, so I want to see how far it gets.
Barbell, just I'm so sorry to hear this. Was your blood work showing everything in range, or was that out of whack for your white blood count and neutrophils and
No,
Leukocytes.
no, I never had issues with neutrophils. I never did. You know,
and
no
your white?
neutrophil issues. What I was very low on are IGs. But of course, I had COVID before, and then with the bacteria, I mean, these antibodies, they also fight pathogens. So of course they are not very high, but of course they were lower than normal. So
Hmm.
that was very dangerous because,
Barbell,
huh?
how many units of blood did they give you?
Uh, well, actually they wanted to, but they gave me some, but uh, I it doesn't help at all because you have to go down to the root cause, and the root cause is something else. You know, you have to get rid of the cancer cells. This is just
Okay.
something that helps temporarily, and what happens is people go then on infusions of, yeah, you might say every week almost, you know, because it's just like covering up the issue. And I wanted to know what causes the erythrocyte problem, and they had no clue what it was. And the problem is the erythrocytes are somewhat very sensitive. Other drugs also diminish them, But I mean, you need them. But it could also be that there is an autoimmune disease and that needs different treatment. So,
Yeah.
well, actually, I just went on Vinny two clocks and watched my hemoglobin. So that's all I did because I said I want my own erythrocytes. I want my blood to recover, and blood transfusions don't help. They just don't help. You have to go to the root cause, at least for me. Someone else might decide something else. It's a personal decision, but I didn't want those to begin with because I've seen it with other patients that sometimes it doesn't have the effect. It's like a short-term effect, and it's foreign cells. I don't want foreign cells. I want my own.
Yeah, Barbell, the reason I ask, I've got a friend that's very anemic, and they have tried to treat him with blood. And from what I read, it's the same thing you're saying. They've got to treat the blood cancer. That's what's causing the
That's exactly
anemia.
so.
Yeah,
That's exactly so. And
yeah,
it's easy for them, they cover everything up. Your blood count goes up a little, you feel a little better, and everything seems to be fine, but it doesn't last because these are foreign cells and they are excreted from the organism, and then everything is back to what it was before. And then they do another blood transfusion, and it keeps going like this. You have to go to the root cause. What is the root cause? And it was just the erythrocytes in my case. So I just wanted to know, but it took a lot of persistence because when you're so low on hemoglobin, you are not very fit. Plus, you get a lot of these antibiotics too. So, and I'm already 75 too. So that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy at all.
yeah. They call
But
it AIHA, which is autoimmune hemolytic anemia. And
yeah, but I don't have that normally. I always had 13, 14 hemoglobin before,
yeah,
and so for me that actually meant that it was the cancer cells that pushed out the erythrocytes. So what has to go? The cancer cells. And the problem is my CLL is aggressive. Most CLL diseases are slow growing. They have a marker called Ki67, which is like a dividing factor. And in most cases, it's somewhere around 10. And mine is 25, which is relatively high. That is, the cancer cells multiply really fast. So you have to adjust the treatment. They have to kill more cells than are reproduced. And that was now the trick. And the 400 milligrams do this. So I'm still in supervision. The doctors still look at the whole thing, but blood transfusions are no solution. I knew that before, but they put so much pressure on me, and they told my sons, like your blood cells will dissolve, and you can't breathe, and oh, I don't know what they told them. Actually, my sons were so scared they don't even want to talk to the clinic anymore and the doctors. So they're really fed up. I was fed up too, because the other clinic in Ulm, they had no issues. They had absolutely no issues. I just had to sign something, and they uh they went with me. That was the same before. I never had treatment according to protocol. I always listened to my body and looked what the results were, and then uh, we did something like shared decision making, and always worked. But
Is it,
not all doctors do that. Some just say, "Well, I say that is something you have to do, and then that's what you have to do." But the problem is when you are so low on hemoglobin, your mind doesn't work well anymore. So it was easy for them to influence me. Plus, I was alone. I was alone in the clinic, and my sons already they didn't want to talk to them anymore. So, Well, that's the way it went, but I can't change it. I wish I could, but well, that's the way it was. I can't change the past, but I wish I hadn't done it really because it was just in vain. It was in vain really because the hemoglobin improved, but it crashed again in one night from 8.4 back to 6.5. And in the
Or,
morning already, I felt really awful. But I had made the appointment in Ulm. And when I got there, they said right away, you have to stay. So they put me in the ER. And then we started the treatment. And here I am again. But at the
or
other clinic, they wanted to give me 10 milligrams of venetoclax, or one doctor, not all of them. There are some very good doctors, but one of them, he wanted to give me 10 milligrams of venetoclax. He wanted to stop the infusions against the bacteria and wanted to send me to an old people's home. He called my son. He should look for a place where I can stay. And as little, I had very little hemoglobin, but I was really fighting, believe me. And well,
Barbell, I don't doubt you were fighting. I mean, I feel sad that that your sons gave up and kind of left you when you were in a weakened state, but I'm so glad you're here right now. And are there any, do you have any CLL friends in Germany
not
that could
really.
serve?
No, no. I have a few that are on my page. I have a page on Facebook where they read, what I publish. But well, in my area are no CLL patients. It's not that common really here. And well, the ones that I know of, they are far away in Nuremberg, in Cologne, different areas. So not really. But that was from the start, when I had my first treatment. Right afterwards, I got in contact with Brian Kaufman, and then I joined the American support groups like CLL support, the Facebook groups, different ones.
That one's mine.
Yeah, or the Blood Cancer Uncensored, and that's where I am now. In Germany, I only have one, but well, it's not one that you can learn a lot. It's mostly people who complain that they have a problem and they want to know, what they could do, and it's more on an individual basis. And I want to learn something.
Rick, we need to expand into Germany more.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
It
That
sounds
is
like
a
there's
Ju-
big problem
Judy,
here. That is really a big problem here.
yeah,
I think
Judy,
locally,
Judy,
sometimes.
you have you have CLL. Does any and so does Michelle. Does any of this sound familiar to you or not?
In our group, we actually have one gentleman from England that joins with us pretty regularly, to join with us on our monthly meetings. So
Hmm.
if you can sign up for, one of those, there, I think we have like 45 in the US that if you go onto the CLL Society uh, page, there are all kinds of groups that are listed that you could join.
But
Barbell.
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if any of the CLLers in here that we've got
Right.
Michelle and Nancy and Judy. I hope I'm getting everybody. Mary, I can't remember what you are.
She has
Um,
myeloma.
right. So I'm just wondering if any of Barbell's issues sound familiar to you. If there's anything Barbell can learn from the people in this group here, from what she went through.
Of course, she was not wanting to take a blood transfusion, but when I was taking chemo, of course, I didn't have any of the uh, infections, but I had the uh, neutropenia fever between every one of them, and I did have to have two transfusions, and they helped me immensely uh,
Well, it's
because
an
I had,
individual decision. I think everybody
oh
has
well,
to
I
decide
was
for
scared.
himself.
Yeah, I was scared to death on the first one because I'd never had one, and but I was so weak from that, and I didn't, of course, didn't have any infections like you were experiencing, but they did
I,
help
I
me.
I feel like the thing I really heard in Barbell, what you shared, and it just really concerns me, and I'm very grateful because my husband goes to every appointment with me, and if I needed to, or he would record it. But I just heard just such a lack of having an advocate there with you, someone who sort of knew what your heart was, what you wanted. And I think it's triage cancer has like a whole worksheet form that my husband and I are going through that talks about what we want. And it's maybe more for maybe some end of life stuff, but that's not. We're just using it as a sort of springboard to get the conversation so that he's very clear about what I want, and that. But I just couldn't imagine being, like you said, with a diminished state because of the hemoglobin, and trying to be able to advocate for my care. I I'm pretty clear I would have ended up in the old folks home. So I'm proud of you for being at home and all, but golly,
Yeah.
that's something that I guess in healthcare, and probably just as important in the United States as anywhere, for people who don't have someone to go through this with. That's tough.
I think for me it was the right thing to do because my hemoglobin is going up, and well, I'm doing okay. The only thing is, after, because it was so long in the hospital, that I have to become a little more fit, but I can do everything here. I can wash myself. I get meals on wheels because with the cooking and chopping it doesn't work quite well, and I have people who can help me too. I have a student, a former student, who comes and helps me take out the trash and stuff. So my sons don't live here. They moved with a job. One lives in Nuremberg and the other one in Schwäbisch Gmünd, but they have families. They have small kids. They work, and nowadays both work. That is, the husband and the wife work. This wasn't like this when I was young. One income was sufficient for the family. But nowadays, everybody has to work.
Yep.
Same here.
So they can't help me. The one in Nuremberg does my paperwork and the payments and everything. And he comes once in a while and visits me and helps me when I need it. But yeah, he does. The paperwork is terrible. It's absolutely terrible in Germany. I have two different insurances, health insurances. So every bill I get, I have to forward to two insurances and look if they get refunded and stuff. And so it's good. My son does this now. I wouldn't be able to do all this, because I have to take care of myself now and get things arranged here. Oh yeah. I
Um,
tell you, I had a head like this, to get everything settled. When I came, nothing was prepared because my son thought uh, I had a people who come and give me shots, against thrombosis and stuff. And he was told that they would take care of everything, but they were only taking care of the shots. So,
wow,
well, but
that is too
before I
much.
went into the clinic, I already lived here without any help, without wheelchair or roulant or something. I made my way around already then. So everything was in a way prepared. I had a chair in the bathroom so I can wash myself. So everything worked.
Oh,
But no, it
So,
was not easy.
Michelle, you wanted to say something?
I did. I was going to say that, Nancy had brought up um, something that would help, and Rick shared Triage Cancer, the link in the chat. But I don't know if can you see the chat? Are you on your phone? is I can give you what it is right now. I can read out what the link is. And then, unfortunately, we need to move on to someone else. But it's triagecancer.org, TRIAGE cancer.org. But I know things are so different with the healthcare system there, but it would at least have, like what Nancy was saying, the different questions and to write down your what it is, how you would like things to be. And I mean, that's
My
something.
problem was that this one bacteria, the Staphylococcus aureus, had to leave first. Otherwise, they could not start the treatment because that's a really bad one. And so I could see the hemoglobin going down because, of course, the cancer cells were multiplying. And on the other hand, I had to beat the bacteria. So that was not easy then.
No, I did get blood transfusions when my hemoglobin tanked right before when I relapsed, right before
Like I
treatment.
said, it's everybody's personal decision.
Right.
But,
It is.
well, actually, I was not really a friend of blood transfusions anyway because it's something foreign. I'd rather have my own system recover if that's possible. Well, I have to go with my disease, my kind of disease, and I know it is aggressive, and I'm in danger of developing Richters because of the high multiplying factor. The key 67 25 is very high, so
Well,
I really have to watch out.
Just saying.
Yeah.
you
And
do.
I have had Richters, so I know that for sure.
There are two different kinds of Richters. One, it develops from the clone in the course of time. This would probably be me, and it's hard to treat. But sometimes there is a clone already there, independent of the CLL, and then it also develops into Richter's. And this one, supposedly, according to Dr. Rüda, is better to treat. So when I get something, it's always more difficult.
Yeah, I was just reading that there's a test to tell, but it's not given. It's not like something they give to you. Oh, you have CLL. We're going to give you the test to see if what from what Barbell was sharing. But has anyone else here has anyone here tonight had Richter's? I know some people have that have been in and out of the meeting. I know you have Judy, and I don't know if anyone else here tonight, but that did not happen, Barbell. So that's good. But let's, I'm sorry, but we need to move on to someone else. And if we have time at the end, we'll come back. So, Al, I know that you have had so much going on yourself with what's happening. And I'm unsure if any of what you have two different blood cancers, but if any of what Barbell mentioned is relatable to what you're going on through.
No, no. So I had a bone marrow biopsy done over a month ago. They were looking for to see if my polycythemia vera had progressed into myelofibrosis. And we got the call that there was no progression. Then, about a week after that, which was 2 weeks after the bone marrow biopsy, I got a call from my doctor, and I was told that they did find a other form of cancer progressing, MSD. So right away, like 2 days after that, a virtual meeting with as many family members I could gather. And so she wants to schedule a bone marrow transplant, and that's coming up. All my brothers except one have already sent off their lab work or samples, and my son and my daughter have also. So just waiting to hear back from them and see where we're at. Then I'm finishing up some dental work, so that'll be done before I go in. So that's where I'm at.
Al, regarding that, is there an age cutoff on that? On a donor for that?
I think,
I'm curious to know myself,
yeah, I think they over 70. So I think that's what it is 70. I don't know. But when they found out that they were only a couple years older than me, um, yeah, they said, yeah, let's do it. Especially like my brother Luis. He's only a year older than me, and he is in great physical shape.
He is. I can attest to that. And having met him, he appeared to be in very good physical shape.
Yes, he is.
And so that helps that obviously helps then. If someone's in great shape, maybe that's all part of it. They want someone healthy for that. Now, wait, and Jerry's
Uh,
gone through a stem cell transplant. Has anyone else here tonight? Mary, have you gone through stem cell? Oh, hi. I did not see Derek join us. Hi. And Jim, you're back. Thank you for being persistent. So Al, I'm sorry, how long did you say it takes for them to find out if someone's a match?
that I don't know. We're just waiting now because they just sent him out this week.
What's your nationality? Oh, so here I got something. This is really interesting because for the first time they've taken a cadaver's bone marrow, taken stem cells and generated stem cells out of University of Michigan, out of Ford, and it took cadaver cells, generated stem cells for the first AML stem cell transplant, and it was successful. And they actually generated so many stem cells that they could actually create two stem cell transplants, complete ones. And what's really cool about this is they can provide stem cells for, like, say, if you're African American and Jewish, or Filipino and Canadian, and all these different really crazy, donor types that you can't get a match for. And so there's a company I'm trying. I want to invest in these guys because this is going to be just a kick-ass stock. But right now they're privately held, but they're in Indianapolis and San Francisco. And what they do is when you die and you donate tissue and organs, what they do is they take your internal spine, they take your spinal cord, and this company goes back and creates stem cells for this stuff.
Oh,
So they're doing this now for stem cell transplants. And what they're predicting is they can grow this stuff, and you're not going to need near the donor levels and everything, because they can really mass inject you with billions of these things over and above a normal donor, and really dial this thing in. It's really exciting. And the first one, if you look it up on the internet, first cadaver stem cell transplant occurred in Dearborn, Michigan. Well, actually, in Detroit, Michigan, at Henry Ford Hospital. It's phenomenal.
wow. That sounds like very exciting new science. But Al unfortunately needs something now. But Jerry, when they matched you up with this tall, blonde, was it Norwegian model
I
that
was
you're
like,
turning
oh my
into?
God, if I met her, what if she's hot? Then
Um,
what do you
so is
do?
that
Almost,
based on,
this could be a Netflix thing.
yeah, it could be.
Go
She's
on.
going to take over, or you're going to take over. But so was that based on, you were asking, like, Al's ethnicity, is that all taken into consideration on
Yeah, they
this?
can make it just set Northern European, that she was 22 years old, and at the time. Now she's 25. But yeah, I mean,
Well, according to my doctor, what she said was they get a good amount out of a data bank out of Germany.
right. Because everybody does it because what they do, what I found out is they come back and they cut you a deal on your health care, your health insurance and everything. If you come back and be a donor, but you got to come back and donate if you're called upon to do that. And so the deal is that Scandinavia, all of Scandinavia and everything, they do the same thing. And so what they do is they incentivize people, and why not, right? It's not that big of an ask, and they do that, and they do that, and they do that for the military as well. You have to get tested in the military, in the armed forces, in NATO, in the European. And so if you're like, um, well, in my case, I did the 23andMe way back when. Like, I God, I bet it was probably 15, 17 years ago, way back when they did the DNA stuff. And they came back and said, "Oh, here's your, here's your multiracial." Mine was like blue, solid blue. So you get a much easier match than if you're multi-ethnic, multiracial, because that's much more difficult. To get a 10-point match, you get a 10-point match. That's the golden match standard.
Has anyone here donated their bone marrow or stem cells?
Well, it's just stem cells, yeah. They just inject you with stuff. Same thing like if you go through blood transfusion when they're going to kind of kick you up, they come back and they inject you with I forget the name of it now.
So
But they inject you with a stimulant to stimulate your neutrophils and your blood generation. Because I've had that more times than I can mention. Same thing with something with transfusions. I've had so many transfusions, unbelievable amount of transfusions.
Yeah, it
So
sounds like Neupogen, which is used to stimulate the. That's one of the
Yeah,
drugs they use.
so I have a question for those of you who have had a stem cell transplant. What words of advice do you have for Al? And I mean, I know it's pretty anxiety making because you're going to be isolated for a while. And I mean, can you give Al, no matter what your condition was, if you had a stem cell transplant, what can you say to Al to give him some comfort?
get every streaming service imaginable. Every streaming service. You're going to need it.
but
At
what about
Disney, get
oh,
because you're going to be
when
in bed watching a lot of crap to occupy yourself, really. Because I mean, really, it is lonely in isolation and everything, and you will be in isolation and everything. The second thing is find good carry out. Find a good place to get carry out because the hospital food sucks. It's shit. And the food is always going to be garbage. And so get good barbecue, get good food that because you're going to really want to eat something good, and the hospital food's never any good. I don't care who's I don't find something that, if you can pick a place that has a good carry out area and seed, do that all the time. I carry it almost every night because
Jerry,
it was just awful.
what about the actual procedure itself for Al? Was that something when you were Al? Will
Well,
you
first they have to go
explain
through. They
the
have to kill the
hospital?
cancer, so they have to go through and they have to run through, and then you got to do the regular chemo. So it's a 2 chemo process typically. So they have to give you the regular chemo, kill the cancer, get you into remission, and then they got to kill. Then they got to do the bone rotor-rooting chemo. That's another round of chemo. That's a whole different round of chemo. So what happens is what they'll do is they'll come back and they'll run regular chemo through, get you into remission, give you 2 to 3 weeks recovery time, maybe 4 at the most, because they don't want anything happening. And they're going to run you through then the bone stripping chemo that basically hollows out your bones.
Nice.
And then what they do is then they give you the stem cell transplant, which is anticlimactic. I mean, it's an hour. They give it to you for an hour, and they bring it out, and it's almost like a little soup dish with warm water. It's kind of bizarre. I took photographs all through it and everything when I was doing it, but and then they inject you in it, and then they come back. And it's not a big deal. It's actually prepping your body for the anti-rejection drugs before you go through the stem cell. So even going through and cleaning out your bones and everything, it's when they give you the anti-rejection stuff. So they give you stuff that they basically generated from rabbits, so they don't kill you from anaphylactic shock and stuff when they go to give you the bone marrow transplant stuff, the stem cells and everything. Because what they want to do is protect your body from rejecting those stem cells, because they're going to inject you with 1 billion stem cells of the donor. And so all this stuff is to protect you against the rejection of it. But it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Versus the old way you used to have to go through it. Let me put it that way. If you had to do this, I don't know, 8 years back and everything, we had to drill through your bones and everything. That's a whole nother beast. So you're getting off light. That's my opinion. We're in a much better place than our predecessors
Wow.
five,
Would it be
seven,
the
10
same?
years ago. Or what they
Would
had
it
to go
be,
through. It was a lot worse.
is it a different protocol though for what you have, Al, from what they've told you than from what Jerry had with
Are
AML?
they going to strip all? Are you going to get? Are you getting your own cells? Or are you getting somebody else's?
No, somebody
What?
else's.
Okay, so they're gonna core them. They're gonna core him. They're gonna wipe out his bone marrow. If you get somebody else's, you have to.
Al, did they mention how long you would, how long all of
You're gonna
this
go
would
through this whole thing. This whole thing. Once they get you, once they are you, you're not in remission yet, are you?
No.
Okay, so once they get you in remission, then it's going to be. Once I was in remission, I was in for the stem cell and everything for about. I was a speedy customer, as I said. So I got in and out in 23 days.
Yeah.
And I said that was really, really good. I was up walking. I was doing all everything that the nurses told me. I got my gold star, despite having C. diff. I got C. diff the night of my transplant. And I don't know if you guys ever knew about C. diff, but this was worse than the chemotherapy ever was. The diarrhea was
we want to keep
unrelenting,
Al feeling
violent,
good about this, Jerry.
Linda Blair crap. I'm telling you, out of the other end though. And I mean, that was worse.
Well, they need to get the match lined up for Al before they can proceed with getting the schedule going.
But I think they were relatively quick. Within maybe I don't know 2-3 weeks, depending on they had several matches for me. So they've been in it how long now? How long now?
Well, they just turned them in. They just turned them in this week.
Oh, okay. So
We
Um,
should know something like soon, really soon.
Al, are they also, are they doing that as a first step? And then if nothing matches, they'll um, go to a bone marrow, I don't know if you call it bank. I don't know
Yeah,
what you,
I
okay.
believe so. I believe so. But I think what my doctor says is like, I really don't understand. I'm on you to this. Is that they're looking for nine nine markers,
right.
but with my kids, she says if we get four, we're good.
Oh, I had forgotten about your children.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah.
maybe my brothers will have more.
How old are your brothers though?
So I'm 65. I got a brother that's 66.
Too old.
Well, he just said that he's in good health though.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter. This is tell you. This is the lengths of the tell you. What is it? it's for
Telomeres.
the health of the stem cells. They won't do
Telomeres.
it. The cutoff's typically 44 at the oldest, typically for stem cell, for them to do the stem cell
Yeah.
transplant.
Wow.
Just give you a
Then
heads up.
why would they send them the kit? They send them the kit, both of them.
Maybe if they were, I don't know, but I'm just saying. Typically,
Yeah, the doctors know how old his brothers are, and
yeah,
so
I'm
they've
just
gone
saying.
ahead.
Everything I saw was typically want somebody really young. They had somebody that was close to me, and they took the younger one for everything.
So,
Yeah.
Al, did they say if you can recuperate in a hotel nearby or if you have to be in the hospital itself?
Yeah. They have some rooms up there for patients that come in from out of town. I don't know
Because
if they're
some,
like, so like the first 30 days, she said, the first 30 days I will be there in the hospital. And after that, they got some rooms nearby that they want me there within less than an hour drive. So I can't come home after that. So I will be up there for 2 months after the 30 days.
what's interesting is Mary Lou in our group, um, she had told us all she was going to start her stem cell, and she and I have been, DMing, and they are letting her, like, they never made her stay in the hospital with her stem cell. There's a hotel down the street from Dana-Farber, and that's where they have her versus having to be in the
Yeah.
hospital. So that's so unusual, I think.
Yeah, no, but it's the same thing, Michelle. I mean, they have rooms which are it's the same as a hospital. They're apartments
Yep.
that are basically on the property that they use.
Oh, so
So
that's where,
it's so they have a campus there, Mayo. So basically they're putting Al up in these special rooms that are for long-term residential people that are staying there, maybe care partners or people
oh,
going through transplants or what have you. So it's not actually in the hospital, but it's on the hospital grounds.
oh,
Because it's an easy 2 mil spend
thank
going
goodness,
through this whole thing. It's easy 2 mil
thank goodness for
package.
insurance.
It's a 2 million package for a stem cell
Wow.
built in the insurance company.
There,
Mother,
there, there's your match, Al.
would you talk to Brett?
So, Al,
Yeah, he's
um,
calling. Would you talk to him?
so Al,
Yes,
how
I'm
are you
here.
feeling physically right now?
Yeah, I'm been fatigued, tired. Um, again, it's up and down. Some days are better than others.
Al, what blood disorder do you carry?
MSD.
Thank you.
And
That's multiple dysplastic syndrome, Derek.
Thank you.
and do you still have polycythemia vera, or has it changed to? I mean, do you still have that and now have both, or just the
Yeah,
one?
yeah. No, I
And
got both. I have both.
will this take care of both the
It
stem
should.
cell?
Yeah, you would think it should. Yeah.
Yeah, you would. So
Well, they
that's
say.
good.
It's a nuclear
Um,
option.
Jerry, you have such a way with words.
It is. It's a nuclear option. It is. Don't kid yourself. It is.
Uh, well, Al, I hear, and I would be really scared if this were me.
I am. I am.
Does more
I'm scared.
information help or not?
I think it just creates more anxiety.
Yeah, I probably should have asked that before we had Jerry share.
Yeah, I think I spoke with Sally a while back, and she says the worst part is you're going to be bored. The
So you got
worst thing of
Netflix.
it, The worst thing is you're going to be bored.
Make sure you take a Chromecast with you. If you got to be in the hospital, take a Chromecast. They can hook it up to your TV, and you'll have streaming and everything.
Yeah,
Call the IT guys and they'll
yeah,
bootleg it through the system and everything, and you'll get
right.
streaming every so you won't have to rely on the bullshit dish and everything. I had that hooked up, and that saved my life because I could stream everything through Google through Chromecast because they had it set up, and you'd be amazed at how many people ask them to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely get a Chromecast.
But I'm scared of the unknown.
Of course.
Has this doctor done a lot of stem cell transplants?
She said she's been doing it for 16 years.
That's good.
I kind of hate to say it, but it is pretty cookbook. The stem cell stuff is, I mean, these guys have to follow a pretty rigid protocol with it for the all the stem cell stuff. It is very defined. Um, it's basically where the doctor comes in is maybe tailoring the dosage of the drugs is what I see.
Yeah.
And then if you have any kind of graft versus host after the transplant, that's kind of that's kind of the thing. That's the finesse of it after.
And is
They've
So
gotten
that
is
pretty good. They've gotten really good with stem cell transplants. It's amazing to see the high probability of stuff where they've gotten very very good molecular testing and all this stuff. It's phenomenal how good they've gotten with this stuff. I just they've really gotten good.
the doctor
Yeah,
a
we
hematologist
want
on?
you to go ahead, Derek.
I'm sorry. So is the doctor a hematologist oncologist that's administering?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
do they
Go ahead.
specialize in stem cell transplant or in MDS or both?
Or all the above. Right.
Al, do you know?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Does this doctor specialize in MDS or in stem cell transplants? Sounds like they do a lot of stem cell.
Yeah, she does. She's actually a MPN specialist, which is the myeloproliferative neoplasm specialist. She's on the list. When you Google MPN specialist, there's in the whole nation, there's just a handful. And she is one of them out of the Mayo Clinic out of Phoenix. And they do, and you're aware of this, the ASH conference they do every year. She's one of the speakers there.
What's her name? Maybe I wonder if I've interviewed her.
No, you have not. I
I
did give
think
you her name the last time. Yeah,
Palmer. Jeannie Palmer, right?
right. Gene Palmer, Dr. Gene Palmer.
Jean Palmer.
and so does she also treats then MDS patients as well.
I Well, I guess when she's dealing with people that have an MPN and it progresses and transform into something else, that's hers.
Got the
That
right person.
that's her.
That's does that happen a lot? Do you know, did she mention that if it's common?
Well, when I first got it, I was told that it could transform into another disease, which I only thought it would be myelofibrosis. But come to find out, now it went into the MDS.
Yeah, I also knew about the that it could go to an MPN, but not an MDS as well. So, but all these blood cancers, it seems various patients end up with a different, not all, but some end up with another blood cancer. Um, well, Al, what can we all do for you?
Yeah, just pray, I guess. Um, one of the things that was brought up in our meeting, um, because she just plainly put it all out there that, you know, it's like only 75% come out of this, 25% don't. Chances are it might come back again. There's no guarantees.
When you say
And
75% come out, you mean 25% it can happen to again, or they
or
don't
not
make
come out of it, because yeah, well, you people go in there and you get infections and stuff, and it go another direction. Um, don't make it.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 are successful, and one out
Wait,
of
wait,
four.
wait. Al, you got to look at the numbers, and the numbers are across the spectrum. That when they come back and do this stuff, a lot of people they're doing it to is 79-year-olds. They're doing it to older people in homes and stuff like that don't
Right,
make it, or they're doing it to
Yeah,
people who aren't in good shape and stuff like.
right.
You got to look at. I went through the same damn thing, and I looked at the numbers, and when you start parsing the numbers, you look at if you're relatively healthy and everything, you got an excellent shot at making it. And then the deal is every year you get, I came back and said, oh, 50% and all this stuff. But what you start to look at is by the time you're by your first year, your numbers skyrocket for survival rate. And then by the time you're at your third year, you're at 75% of the people are going to make it long term. And it just keeps on building. So by the time you're 5 years, you're pretty well good to go. And
yeah.
so, the deal is you're buying time just in case. So they invent
Yeah.
some new wonder drug that saved me the second time around that they didn't
No,
have before. And so you're buying time. Everybody's buying time
no. She
one
did
way or
mention
another
that.
anyway.
She did mention that I was still young and in good shape.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. Don't go down that hole. There's no point
And
in going
then,
down that hole, because the
you know,
deal is and don't read any of the drug paraphernalia stuff and everything because they'll tell you about how mine was 25% what they had for me. Oh, only 25% of the people make it. I'm going, oh shit, I'm planning everything
yeah,
and stuff. You can't read this stuff because it's a lot of this stuff is for investors and all this other stuff. When you start looking at the disease stuff and everything, and so I just don't look at that stuff because I'm glad I didn't because the question is I can spend the time I'm here thinking about negative, nasty shit or thinking
Yeah.
about positive shit because that's what I want to spend my time here thinking about is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's really good advice,
Because you have
Jerry.
no
You
control
know,
over it anyway. It's going to
it.
you
be what
you
it's
right,
going to be.
you
right.
you've got to stay away from Dr. Google. You've got to talk to the people that
Right.
you know have had success with these transplants, like Jerry and Judy and Sally. I mean, we've got plenty of great examples of people who have been through it and are doing relatively well, if not very well. I mean, Jerry's now out on that electric bike of his, killing them all the time, and that's what we got to look at because, as Jerry says, if you want to find a rabbit hole to go down, there's plenty of them. It's easy for you to stick your foot in one of those holes and bust up your ankle. So, right, 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 Jerry, you got
I
to
got it
stay
straight
out
though.
of. Don't go looking for rabbit holes, right?
I kept riding out on I got a brand new electric mountain bike, just brand new. I bought it. It was expensive. People said, "Oh," I said, "Well, I can't put it in my." I said, "Hey, can't put it in my coffin. I can't take it with me, so fuck it. I'm gonna buy it. And so I go riding out in the thing, and I got these new shoes, and they're killing me. So this guy who pulls up into a truck, it's the only place. It's just he and I. I said, "Excuse me, do you have any like tissue or anything? My shoe's killing me on the inside of my foot." And he goes, "Well, I don't know if I got it." He goes, "Yeah." He comes, reaches out, he's got a big roll of toilet paper. I said, "That'll work." So he gives me a big roll of toilet paper, and I'm stuffing the toilet paper in my shoe. He goes, "Is that an electric bike?" I said, "Yeah." And so he goes, I said, "Yeah." I said, "I usually go through chemo and everything." And I said, "I had leukemia." He goes, "Well, I got prostate cancer that spread to my spleen, all this stuff." And he goes, I can't. I said, "Well, you should try electric bike." I said, "Get on it." And he got on it and he went, wee. It was like, and you could see this guy's whole thing changed. I said, "Look," I said, "I got it because I couldn't keep up with my friends anymore." He goes, "My God, I can't keep up with my friends anymore either." Because, I said, "Well, yeah, you're going through prostate cancer. You don't have testosterone anymore." All of us. I said, "Yeah." So he goes, "You know something? I'm going to go home and buy a mountain. I'm going to go because and he's going to get an electric bike and it's going to change his life." And it was great. I could change somebody's life that one day out in the middle of nowhere because I asked this guy for some toilet paper.
There you
It was
go. If
true.
you've got
It's true.
Jerry, if you've got his email address, tell him to join us on our in our
Oh,
ANCAN group.
damn it, I should have thought of that. Yeah, I should have thought of that. I'm
Guys,
sorry.
I gotta run because I gotta get over to the other group. But you're doing a great job, and Al, I hope you're taking this to heart and stay out the rabbit holes. I'll be talking to you more about them rabbit holes. Okay.
Thank you, Rick. Jerry, I sent you a note in the chat. And Al, so it's great advice
I don't know
to,
where this
it's
one
great
is.
you reached out to Sally. And look at Sally. Oh my gosh, she's traveling the world. I know she's in the ER right now, but she drove to Maine and she stopped here on her way. I can't even convince my sister to stop to come to Boston to visit me. And she lives in New York, so it was pretty phenomenal. And then she went on to Maine. It's amazing to me what she does. And to tie this in, Derek, welcome. And the woman I'm talking about, she has multiple myeloma.
Ah,
And Mary has myeloma. And we have other members, but tonight you two would be the ones with it. So as you see, we have different blood cancers. I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia, as do a few others here. Lynn has a close, I don't know if it'd be sibling, I guess, to CLL, SLL, um, small, sorry, what is it? Lymphoma,
Small.
right? Small.
Small lymphocytic lymphoma. And
And,
it's the same as CLL.
and treated the same way. Jerry has had AML.
That's the other
And
nice thing about a stem cell transplant. Kind of, once you're cured, you're cured.
Yeah.
well,
Well,
it
we
depends, right?
we need to transition on to some other
Yes.
areas
So with
because we're running
Derek,
out of time.
exactly. So Derek, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and when you were diagnosed and where you live and where you're going? For
sure. I'm in the Southern California area. My journey started about 16 years ago. I was fighting a bout with valley fever. That almost killed me in itself. At which point they found MGUS, or the
oh,
elevated um, protein cells, monoclonal protein cells in the blood. So we've been monitoring that for the last 16 years. And then during that monitoring process and a couple of scans, they had found a growth on the head and neck of my pancreas. Did a biopsy on that guy and it came back negative. So I thought, okay, cool. But then spoke with the surgeon. I had lost 40 pounds within a 6-month period unintentionally, had some other symptoms that weren't normal. Surgeon said, I think we better get that growth out regardless. And so we went ahead and had a surgery. I was on the table for 9.5 hours, got the growth out. And after they got the growth to pathology, it came back as stage 2A pancreatic cancer, even though the biopsy was benign initially. And then a year after that, I get PSA levels of 5.6 on my prostate, at which point the scans show some growths on the prostate. Up to this point, knock wood, have been benign as well. I just did 10 slices on those in July of this year, which all came back benign, as they did last year as well. So right now, I'm 3 years free of pancreatic cancer. Thank you very
Oh,
much. I'm a blessed man. They took the head, neck, gallbladder, part of the stomach, part of the small intestines all out, got clean margins, and put it all
uh-huh.
back together. And I'm here talking about it. And then now it's just this smoldering myeloma that I'm dealing with that has just slowly been progressing over time. I'm not currently in treatment with the myeloma at this point. I do see a hematologist oncologist regarding it. He's also the one that put me on the chemo for my pancreatic cancer. Once they removed the tumor, then I did 6 months of chemo afterwards, after the fact, just as a prophylactic precautionary type deal.
Mm.
And yeah, where I was earlier, I was over at the Men Speaking Freely group, talking with those folks over there, and then decided I wanted to come over here and see if anybody else shared some of my journey. And nice to meet you, Mary. And
And and Sally, who you missed, she had called in from the ER. She also has multiple myeloma, and I think, did she have MGUS to begin with, Mary? Do you know? For some reason, I think she may have,
I
um,
don't know.
or maybe
My
not.
husband probably
Some,
had my husband had the MGUS for probably 20 years or more.
uh-huh. And then you said he succumbed to pancreatic cancer in the end?
Yes, he had had prostate cancer and had surgery for that in 2009, and had radiation for that as well as the hormone shots. And then we didn't find out about the pancreatic cancer until August of last year, and in 6 weeks he was gone because it was aggressive and in his liver also.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very lucky to be speaking about pancreatic cancer at this
And
point.
I'm in a pancreatic study. I have lesions on the head and neck. Also, that I have an MRI at least once a year, and sometimes a couple of times a year. My pancreatic doctor actually, after my husband died, because I was so uh, uh, aware of it, he actually gave me extra MRIs because I was so anxious.
Oh, good for him. Do you also do blood biopsies?
Well, I have CLL. I have blood all the time
All the
done.
time. I got you. Understood.
Every month, at least once a month.
Right. Yeah, every 6 weeks they're taking my blood and looking for tumor markers uh,
Yeah,
to see if the pancreatic cancer is reoccurring.
yeah.
do they also, during those tests, also check your myeloma as well? Or is that,
Yes, we will monitor the protein levels, correct. The light chain cells and such.
And do they do the MGUS and I mean uh, the MG, the M and A and G?
Yes, all the
It's
different levels of the light chains and
right
protein,
about G.
correct. And at which point, not wood, like I say, he's still classifying it as a smoldering myeloma, not
Yeah,
worthy of treatment in his
yeah.
mind at this point.
Yeah, as I said, my husband had it for ages.
Huh. Did he ever exhibit symptoms
Mm-mm.
or complain about symptoms? Mary,
No,
how about yourself?
No, I
Myeloma?
don't. No.
Mary, did you ever have symptoms then before treatment or not?
No, I didn't. But when I had the bone marrow biopsy, it showed it was smoldering. So we opted to treat it with Revlimid, which just broke everything open. And so it became full fledged. I didn't take well to Revlimid. So then I was there.
Are you on oral treatment right now, Mary?
I do infusions. I have Kyprolis and dexamethasone, and then once a month, I do that every other week, and once a month I have Darzalex Fast Pro, and then I have Exgeva for the bones too. But according to my specialist, this combination, they haven't been able to finish the clinical trial because enough people aren't dying. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
That's a good thing.
That's a great bit of information for them to tell you.
Yeah, I
And
was happy to hear it.
wow. And tell me again, it's dexamethasone, Darzalex, and what else?
Kyprolis.
So you're on a triple.
Yeah.
And do you know the name of that trial?
No, I don't.
That's okay. I'll look it up to see. They all have funky names or weird numbers and letters all put together, so I know. It's not easy. How are you feeling, Mary?
Well, I'm coming to the point where I don't think I'm going to die from myeloma. I've got enough other things going wrong with my body that the myeloma, I probably should be a little more on top of it or something, but I got other things to worry about.
And that's the problem with no symptoms, because it doesn't present itself. Therefore, it sits in the back of
Yeah,
the mind, right?
yeah.
I do the same. Yeah.
Well, I got enough other symptoms to keep me happy. So they keep me worried.
Well, Derek, we also have a few other people here also who with myeloma who just aren't here tonight. Mary, now is your coach Sally or Lou?
Sally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. And that is Derek, you don't know that is not Mary killing a child in the background. That
Oh,
is her bird.
see, usually he's quiet when I'm in a different room, so he doesn't hear me. I should shut the door.
The bird is part of the group now.
There you go.
So I know that, let's see, I'm looking around the room. Lynn, you had two questions for the group.
Yes, I do have two questions. Question number one, my doctor, Dr. Farouk Awan, who is a CLL, SLL doctor, and other types of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, he recommended the Pemgarda infusion, which is a replacement for the Evusheld that was available a couple of years ago to help keep us from getting a bad case of COVID. Has anybody had the Pemgarda transfusion yet? Infusion. Anybody?
My
I-
doctor was hesitant about it. She was all for the Evusheld. She said, and now I haven't spoken to her about it in 3 months, and she may have changed her mind now. This is right when it first came out, but she said that she was hesitant about it, and
It's hard to
and
get coverage unless you're pretty ill for
that's
the
the other thing
infusion
too.
for the COVID scenario. You really have to go through. I mean, I had the Evishield, and that wasn't a big deal because it was just a shot, an injection. But this is an infusion and everything, so you have to go through a lot more insurance hurdles to get prior authorization on that.
I think it
Judy?
depends on the insurance. I
Correct.
took,
Insurance coverage on it.
yeah,
You have to get. It's a significant doctor's
yeah. I,
hurdle on it.
I went on and took the COVID shot because I'm going to be traveling next week. And at the point, they weren't sure on the PEMGARDA at that time. So, and I knew that I had to have something effective before I traveled. So that's what, but I probably will go on and get that at a later time.
Yeah, I asked how long the infusion took, and they said they would have a slot of 4 hours set up for that. I think it doesn't take that long, but I think that's probably what.
You have to do it
But it,
twice too.
I think it's to see how you're reacting to it too.
yeah.
I
Well,
think you have to do it twice.
2
well,
hours.
Evans showed you had to do twice, but he
I
didn't
thought
say
the other
anything
was
about.
twice too, from what I read. I thought it was a
Okay.
two scenario.
Oh,
So
so you have,
anyway, I'm dragging my feet at this point. I'm not moving forward with it, but I'm interested in learning more about it, and I'll see my doctor again. Just saw him in September. I'll see him again in 6 months. Everything's okay, and so I'm still on a drug holiday off of ibrutinib now for a year and a half. So the other question, we several people here have had venetoclax. Michelle, no, Michelle, Nancy has had venetoclax and obinutuzumab. Um, I
Judy
just want, and Judy, okay.
and
Since
Sally.
I had
this
it
is a
off
treat. Go ahead.
I had it off label. I took 10 400 milligram doses in conjunction with my chemo
Well, my
for 3.
question is, since this is a fixed duration treatment, if you get venetoclax and then you relapse, let's say 5 years down the road, do you go back and get venetoclax again?
Yes,
You can.
Yeah.
You can. And
I have
Barbell,
3 treatments with venetoclax.
Well,
Okay.
and who knows 5 years down the road what's going to be out there. But pirtobrutinib is also one that you can take after venetoclax also, which is what I'm on.
Okay.
and and Lynn, there also a doctor I was speaking to just told me that finally there will be a new so venetoclax is a BCL2 inhibitor that there
Coming up.
is a new one that they think will be out soon. So maybe there'll be a newer one with less side effects, like what's happened with the BTK inhibitors, like you can go back on a BTK inhibitor like I did because you didn't go off of it because it stopped working. So you
Right.
could go on another one, but it's, as you know, and you've been through, it's indefinite.
Yeah.
So, but at least that would work. So you could go back to one.
Yeah, and the pirtobrutinib is kind of an indefinite until it stops working type thing too.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. It was just a question, and I mean, I felt that there wouldn't be a reason to not go back, but uh, I was curious.
And now there's the degraders and the bispecifics. And there's another class too that I've forgotten the name of. So it's wonderful. There are just so many new things. And now, as we know, Sally's on venetoclax now. A lot of them are being used in different blood cancers.
Right.
Okay. Well, one other thing for my report, and then we can go on to somebody else. I did see my doctor, and when he came in the room, my wife was lying on the exam table, and I said, "Are you all right?" And she said, "I'm tired." And I said, "She's tired all the time." He said, told his nurse, "Take her down the hall and draw some blood." So my hemo-oncologist drew blood on my wife and called her later that day and said, "You need to get on vitamin D and you need to get on calcium." So uh, she hadn't had a regular annual checkup in a pretty good while, and so she's back taking vitamin D like she should have been doing already, and like I guess I should be doing too, and calcium and so forth, and
Dr.
that's
Alon's great like that because he
yeah.
did the same thing for my husband. He actually did tests on my husband while he was in the hospital for that. And now we're also dealing with him, and my friend has just been diagnosed with lymphoma of the brain that's having a biopsy on Monday. And
Well,
he's
Michelle,
so,
that's all I've got.
And Lynn, are you feeling good?
I'm feeling lovely, can't you see? I mean, tell.
Well, are you the one who wrote you were rating your refrigerator?
That was me.
Find anything good in there?
Well, I had some pina colada yogurt, and I
Ooh,
had some mandarin orange jello.
how
And
you
then
keep
I had a couple of peanut butter cookies and my evening pills and some water and some milk, rather.
that all sounds good, especially the cookies. That sounds really good.
Nabisco peanut butter wafers.
I went to make my husband cookies tonight, but we didn't have everything. So he ended up, my married name is Baker. He concocted something in there that I smell and it's killing me, the smell. I'm like, what is it? It smells so good.
holler at him to bring you one.
I'm just looking around. So, Judy, you said you'd like a couple of minutes. What is happening with you?
Well, I'm doing okay, except for the mosquito bites have been attacking me. I've had terrible dose again, and I have been putting together my 10 years of story to present next week, and I'm getting really excited about that. And the doctor that is going to be on with me, except it's going to be virtually, he's not going to be live, is Dr. Davids from
Oh,
Dana-Farber. So
he's lovely.
I'm excited to meet him.
He's wonderful. He's everything, he's what do they say? The whole package.
Yeah, I feel
Empathetic.
very privileged to be on the same stage with him.
Can we watch it or is it
I
internal?
don't know. Lily I know that they're doing it, but I think this is what they call their Physicians Institute or something like that. And I know that it's going to be where I'm going to be, it's going to be like 20 people, but it will go to like 200 at that time. And then the second day I'm there, I will actually be sitting down for about 4 hours or so for interview. And I have turned in about 10 different videos of activities that I'm doing because they want to show that I'm active with taking the pirtobrutinib. So,
That's fantastic.
so
Can you have someone take photos? If you send them to me, I'll post them. I'm so
okay,
excited
well,
for you.
hopefully they can take photos. And I'm also going to get to tour the Lilly laboratories and see the packaging and all of that. So I'm real excited about that.
That's wonderful you're doing that and helping train these physicians.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
Oh, and the other thing, I know that some of you, like Mary, I think are affiliated with HealthTree. HealthTree is now getting into CLL pretty much, and I was just on with about 3 or 4 other people, and we were reviewing the information that they are posting for
That
CLL.
they need someone to review it.
Yeah, yeah. They haven't posted it yet. I mean, this is a wide range of information about how you're, diagnosed and all of that kind of stuff. It's about 45 pages worth of stuff.
Well, I'm glad that you're on the team because they had posted some things that needed someone who understood it better. So I'm
Yeah,
so happy they have you. And I saw you writing in the comments when I interviewed Jenny. So
yeah,
that's wonderful.
yeah.
Well, please keep us posted on your exciting time at Lily. You're going to be close to Sally, right? But your time will be totally taken.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Very exciting.
Like she's not in too good a shape for for being well when I'm going to be there.
You're doing good work, Judy.
Thank you.
Good work there.
Kind of,
Nancy, what is happening with you, Nancy?
Well, kind of exciting. We're in Alabama tonight. And Judy, I'm so happy to see you because, sometimes you just sort of have a sense of something. And I've been thinking about you with your husband. And then when you said that he got, was diagnosed in August, and I was like, that's exactly, because that was what I thinking. It's got to be close to a year now. And
this past the 16th of September.
yeah, well, man, that's a big deal. And you are such an important part of all our groups, but I also know that that's a part of your life that was so big. I mean, you guys shared everything, and
Everything. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I want you to know, I recognized, just somehow, sometimes you just get a little like
Yeah,
nudge and it was like, oh yes, that's got to be close. And so I am definitely thinking about you, and
appreciate that.
I'm glad you got some distractions to keep you kind of
Well,
busy. And
actually, it's coming at a very timely deal because I'm actually traveling on his birthday, which
oh,
will
perfect.
kind of distract me from the whole thing too. So,
Well, and I'm sure he'll be going, that's my Judy. She's out there serving others and busy with, educating and keeping us all, in a good place and encouraged. So that's really cool.
yeah,
But so Trey, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, we left Vermont on Sunday. We're in Alabama. We definitely took a route. It's really interesting. We thought about going into North Carolina and South Carolina because we've never seen those states. So we were
Wow.
like maybe thinking about doing a little vacation time. And for some reason, we just thought, you know what? We just want to, we probably just need to focus on getting home. And then all the hurricane stuff came up, and it was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad we didn't have, because we would have had to reroute and all that. But we did drive. In fact, last night we were in Knoxville, which was also, one of the sort of places. And we've had one hotel we were at, we had to boil water. And we definitely have seen a lot. I have an artist friend who lives in Asheville, and so she's been keeping me, but golly, that is such a big deal. If any of you guys are in those areas, my heart goes out to you, because that it's devastating. And um, it's really, and then I guess the only other thing I'd say is I opened this was one of those things when, you have to boil water, you buy lots of water. So I thought, I'm going to see if I can drink this during our call tonight. But what it reminded me of is, I think, Barbell, you said you're on venetoclax. And that was the one thing that I remember, like that was super important when I was on venetoclax, was to drink a lot of water. So if anyone ever ends up on venetoclax, man, just keep the water going, because it really does make a big difference.
Kidneys,
This
hard on your kidneys.
I felt the same. I feel the same way with what I'm on and have to remind myself. But cheers to you. I have one too. This is my second one tonight. Well, today.
Then
But
you're
I have
about equal with this. Is like huge.
That's massive. I know. Wow.
And it was like the biggest one I could find at the convenience store, because all the cases were sold out. So,
Yeah.
and
Did you get
toilet paper. What's the deal with toilet paper? Did you guys all get your toilet paper?
here's to getting up every 2 hours at night.
It's true.
I know,
That
but when I
damn water.
Costco, I think because of the strike, which they said they're putting off till January 15th. I went on a Wednesday and almost every cart was gone because people are rushing in to buy things because of the
Fast
longshoremen's.
strike.
Yeah, which is
Yeah, the
just
ports.
Yeah, the
Uh,
ports.
You know, oh my gosh, I have not run out to get things like that. Thank you, Nancy, for that reminder. Might be too late.
I
And
bought a
and
ton of stuff on the P&G stuff on the Costco. I bought $200 worth of paper, toilet paper, towels, all the stuff like that during that just before the end of this month, before the dock and everything.
Actually,
I got a basement loaded of it, unbeknownst to
they said
That
on
on
the news.
eBay.
hey,
It'll
my
soon be time to
theory
eBay. Make some money.
my theory on Jerry is that that 22-year-old stem cell is working for him.
the the news tonight though said they were putting off the strike until January 15th.
Oh, are they?
So
Okay.
they're putting a hold on it. So that's good news, for a while.
is
So
that because of negotiations, or they're being nice because of the
well,
holiday
there
season?
I think the pressure of the holidays and things like that going
And
on
the
is
elections. And the elections.
and
It's
the
a really it's a
yeah.
crappy time to strike right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now you're just political fodder for everybody. It's a no win. They weren't. I was thinking about that. I was thinking, you idiots. Why would you go on strike in the middle of an election?
Yeah.
Makes no
And you
sense.
got the people along the East Coast trying to recover from a hurricane.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's just
Absolutely. They
ridiculousness.
need stuff.
It's particularly when they come back and say we'll give you a 50% raise. I mean, it's it's just stupid.
So Jerry, how are you feeling?
Good. I was going to say about the stem cell. So I'm heading into COVID vaccine season, and so I was reading an article that was saying, the mNRA vaccines. They're saying the
Yes.
only reason that they only last like from 3 months to maybe stretching it 6 months, but typically 3 to 4 months, is because what happens is it doesn't get into your bone stem cell to make a lasting response because of the way they made the vaccine. The mRNA doesn't stay in your bones, unlike flu vaccines and stuff like that. And so what I'm saying, so go with me on this because this is I just thought of this. When I read the article, I thought, well, what about the Nova vaccine? Because the Nova vaccine isn't an mNRA vaccine. That's made with moth stuff, so it's more like the polio vaccines and stuff. So perhaps, and I'm going to go with Novavax, because what I'm thinking is maybe that's going to go into the bone like the flu vaccine does, because that's not an mNRA vaccine, and that may last longer in your bones, whereas the mNRA vaccine doesn't. And I think that's worth a shot, given that it's given equal probability of keeping COVID away, and you don't have near as bad side effects like you
Mm-hmm.
do with the mNRA vaccine. And it's
I also
something
have
different to mix it
Novavax.
up anyway. What do you think?
I was
Yeah, same
I was
opinion.
I was thinking that would be the better one, but the only one they had where I went was,
They
of
have
course,
it. Everybody has it now. I've been wanting to get it, but they haven't had it yet. I already had COVID, so I got to wait a few more months. But the deal is, that's what I'm going to go with because I thought maybe this will go into my bones, into the stem cell of the bones, and I get a little bit better duration of immune response, longer immune response because it's more like a traditional vaccine. Nobody's been proven this, but I'm using the same kind of logic that you know what I mean. The way the flu vaccines, traditional vaccines, are made versus mNRA,
and the side effects you said are not as bad.
not as bad. Not
Mm-mm.
as bad headache, not as bad flu symptoms.
I just had fever
Problem is,
for
it's not quite tuned. It's not quite as tuned to the different variants, but there's a new XDC variant that's going around. So how tuned you're going to be, you know? And so I think it might be a shot. So that's what I'm going to do.
So will you be, hopefully you'll get it before our next meeting. You can tell us about it.
Well, no, I gotta, yeah, it's because I already had COVID, so I gotta wait like at least 3 months, four
Oh, that's right.
months after I had it. So I just came out of it. So I probably won't be getting it till December. But I
Do you
encourage, I'm just saying, if I were you, that's what I'd probably get versus
good
the
advice
mRNA vaccine.
regarding
Sorry, Judy.
regarding your being cautious? Will you remain to be cautious, Jerry?
Oh, absolutely. I'm cautious. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I still am.
Do
I
you
wear the
mask,
mask.
Gary?
I
Yeah.
wear masks pretty much everywhere still. I mean, we have certain people we know are safe, quote unquote safe, that practice safe habits. Don't go to crowded places. I'll go. We'll go outside somewhere, and we might go inside somewhere if there's nobody really, if it's not real crowded, and it has two-story ceilings, it has adequate ventilation. So there's all these checklists of where I'm going to go. I don't go to low ceilings. I don't go to crowded places. It's different. There's a lot of different requirements, but that's what I do. Because even though I had it, I'm not getting sick like that again if I can avoid it. It's just not worth the dinner party, or it's just not worth going out and sitting this close to somebody for a dinner thing to me.
I I still masked it most of the time in public, unless
Yeah,
it's like you go
I
or
mask.
outside
I
things.
go
But
I
now
go
it's
into Einstein Bagels. I mask.
I was
I
just
pretty
at a
much mask
conference.
everywhere.
Has anyone here attended a conference and masked? I wear a mask. However, it during when it was lunchtime,
Yeah,
um,
that's the
I that's the only time I'm trying to shovel food into my mouth. And lo and behold, I found out the conference sent out an email last night that some people wrote to them that they went home and tested positive for COVID. And
Right.
then I saw online people I had lunch with one day were two of the people. So I'm fine though. I mean, I took a test. I had gotten my vaccine before I went, fingers crossed, but I was just like, oh no. But yeah, I mean, even doing that, I know you take chances being in the same room with people, but I would try not to be around. There were other people who masked, but not many. And this
one,
was, go ahead.
one of the things I do besides mask. If I'm going to a restaurant or to a group where I'm sitting, I never sit in the middle. I
Right.
always sit to the edge, and
Right.
uh, so that I'm not in the middle of everything. I'm over to the side.
They had round tables. So I would
Well,
try to find one and put my purse on one side of me and my laptop bag on the other side on the chairs. But then, you can't
even the
always
round tables, you can get the round table that's on the edge of the group.
that I
That's what
would
I,
do
yeah.
and try to pull my chair out. But still, in certain, yeah, it didn't always work. I know. So, Jerry, was there anything else you wanted to share
I told you
tonight?
guys about the headaches and everything that I found because of the tacrolimus and sirolimus and everything. So people, I've been having migraines and everything. So I started having these migraines, and they were coming in frequency, and I'm getting them. I used to get them once every 6 months or so. Then I've started getting them all the time. Weather changes causing them. All these things. I get a bicycle ride. I go out 30, 15, 20 miles, and I get a cry. All of a sudden, I get, vision starts to go, and I'm going, damn it! And I ride 30 miles back with a migraine. Um, what I found out was I was trying to figure out the frequency of it, and I thought maybe it was the stem cells of the girl that I got. But what I found out was I came across an esoteric paper that this lady in 2023 studied people that take sirolimus for stem cell transplants or organ transplants or tacrolimus stuff like that to prevent organ rejection, and they were on it and on a decent dose of it can have all kinds of migraine problems, neurological problems later, and appearing even 3 years after transplant. And so what I found out was that was what's causing this stuff. And so they ended
Are
up
you
putting me on something that for people that have spasms, epilepsy. So they put me on an epilepsy drug that mitigates the migraine. It's not a heavy epilepsy drug, but they found an off-use label, and it's really helping the migraines and everything. But I didn't know by using all these AI tools and everything. I found, lo and behold, it was tacrolimus sirolimus, and it's not really that well known because there's only so many people that have to take that heavy dose stuff that have migraines because of these pills.
Are you still on those pills?
No, I'm not on anything anymore. Thank God, nothing.
That's wonderful. But you said that people still have the effects for a number of years after, but then can you eventually go off that? You eventually won't be getting the migraines?
They don't know. They just kind of discovered that this was an issue.
You're riding 30, 40, 50 miles. I did catch that.
Yeah. That's why I meant it. These things, normally Thursday night's my bike night where we'll go out and ride 40 miles at night on Thursday nights. We moved it to Wednesday night so I can make this now. But yeah, yeah.
Did you hear that, Al, that he's riding all that distance now? I know you used to ride your bicycle.
I'm trying to get to 4,500 miles this year.
It's an electric bicycle.
3,000 miles.
It's an e-bike, though, isn't it?
It's an e-bike.
Yeah.
It's an e-bike. That's cheating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's why all my friends ride e-bikes and they don't have cancer now. So all that happens is we go farther and we have to go faster now. So I lost any kind of advantage.
Just don't fall off of it.
No, you
Tell me
don't
about
want to
it.
do that.
All kinds of
So, Jim, did you have anything you wanted to share this evening? Oh, and Jim's sister, Derek. Jim's sister has multiple myeloma. Is that right, Jim?
Yes, she does, and I check in with her, and apparently she is doing okay. I think she was in the stem cell transplant. She got out in like 17 days, which was amazing.
That's fast.
Yes, it is. She was amazed at the thing. She then happened to get it, and within like 4 days, and where the numbers were up. I mean, it was really great. So
was it somebody else or her? Oh, a family member?
I think it was her own.
Oh, okay.
I just had a friend that did CAR T for multiple myeloma. He was in the hospital a couple of weeks and then out, like kind of what Jerry had said, in a apartment close, and he's doing fantastic from the CAR T for multiple myeloma.
It's tough when you get it from somebody else, though. That's where they really got to watch because the reactions and everything, all the hives and all the stuff, just in case with is it analogous? I think it's analogous.
Hopefully Al will have a family member that he has various, siblings and kids. So has anyone here in touch with Mary Lou in our group here she should be let me think. She went in the middle of September. So she should be, that would only be maybe she might be 3 weeks into her stem cell. She has, I'm trying to remember, she have MDS, Mary Lou? Or does she have myeloma? MDS, I think. Anyway, well, hopefully we will see her next month. And I think that's it. If I don't know, do I have any updates? Not really. I don't think I have any other than I still have to get my flu and RSV vaccines and the latest. What is the latest pneumonia? Is it how many does the latest pneumonia one cover?
I think there's a new one at 12. Is there a new 12 or something out?
20 something.
Now, don't you only take the RSV one time? You don't do that yearly, I don't think.
No, take it once.
That's just a one time.
You don't do it once.
You don't do it. You don't do it once.
No. RSV is just one time.
Just once.
Really?
Thank God. Oh.
They told me to get it.
That was a rough one.
Yeah, I better. I wonder if that's because I had it right. I'll double check. Maybe they forgot I had gotten it. I had gotten it right after I finished obinutuzumab. So
Oh,
maybe that's why. I don't know. I'll ask. Yeah, I'd rather
yeah.
not get it if I don't have to.
Oh, you don't have to.
Have any reaction to that one? That's the only shot I had that I didn't have any reaction to at all.
Really?
I didn't
Yeah,
either.
That knocked me out. Knocked me down.
that one did. The others do. I always have 1 to 2 days of high fever. In fact, with the flu vaccine, I had 102, over 102 fever, and then I had almost a 101.8 with the COVID vaccine.
How long did the flu reaction last, Judy, for you?
Just 2 days, which was I was really astounded because usually I go 3. So 2 days was wonderful. And only 1 day on the COVID vaccine, which was unusual too, because usually it's 2 or 3 days.
Al, you know, maybe your stem cells will come from one of your kids and you'll be like young and you'll look like 30 years younger.
You
Well, we
will
hope
feel really.
so.
You will feel really once you get out of the funk of it.
Or
You
maybe
will
maybe
feel
he'll
really
dance.
good.
He'll be a
You
dancer.
will feel good.
Hi,
You'll feel like
Bobby.
Lance Armstrong.
Is that Bobby that just came in?
Yeah, yeah. She was saying maybe I'll be a dancer again.
No, he
You
never was a
dance?
dancer. His dad was a dancer.
Now,
So
which son has rhythm? Which son has rhythm?
my dad was a dancer. But I wanted to run this one when I was talking earlier. When we had that meeting, and she ran the pros and cons by me. I asked her, "How many? Has anybody ever turned this down?" And yes, she's had patients turn away from it.
Hmm.
We're
And what do
at
they
80,
do?
90.
They just don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it. They don't want to go through it.
Yeah.
They opt to just get worse?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and go through other treatments, but you end up getting sick.
That's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What
Um,
you say? Don't be a Steve Jobs.
yeah. I don't know if any of you have seen that movie. Jack has a plan.
What's that about?
That fix a date.
Um, he's got brain cancer and went through the chemo and everything, and it came back years later. But I think he lived in California, so he was able to take the cocktail, and he had a going away party with all his friends.
Oh,
Ooh, that's not a good plan.
No, no, but he just didn't want to go through it all over again.
That brings up a good point because that happens more than often where people do not want to continue treatment or do treatment at all. And you
Right.
got to wonder, what is the mindset?
That's
Um,
Well,
right.
but
what was
everybody's wired differently, I suppose.
well, and I think it depends. Like when my husband was diagnosed, they said it was so aggressive and had already spread so much that we didn't do any kind of treatment. Uh, and he was never in pain or anything like that. So it was while it didn't last long, and that's what my pancreatic doctor, I asked him to look at it too when I went for my appointment, and he said, I haven't seen him, but just looking at it, I would say he has from weeks to months, to live. So, but they didn't give us any hope for treatment helping at all.
This July, my
How many?
87-year-old mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the exact same spot mine was. I made it to 66 or 63 before I was diagnosed. She made it to 87.
Wow.
She's not going to do any treatment at this point, not at that age.
Yeah. Well, and depending on, did they say hers was malignant or what, was it just
No,
lesions?
it's not malignant at this point. It's
It's
still
just
within centimeter size.
they call them lesions on it, I think.
Correct. Yeah, the lesions are still small and have not
Yeah.
spread.
Yeah.
They did put a stent in, which gave her some relief and helped her with digestive processes and such.
Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely seeing you all. Derek, I hope you come back. We meet once a month, the first Thursdays at, you're in the Men Speaking Freely group as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the conflict.
Well, I thought they have it twice a month for Men Speaking Freely.
They do. You're right. They do it twice a month.
Jim has his hand up.
Excuse me, Michelle. Before we leave, I know that you folks are not veterans, but I would like to put in a plug for the veterans support group, which is now meeting twice a month online on the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and we take care of all of the veterans, all of the problems on disability, health care, exactly how to get things through the VA, and it is starting to ramp up. So if folks happen to know veterans who are puzzled about how the VA happens to work and how to get things done, our group is the group to join. And I would be happy to have them.
Thank you for all you do for our veterans, and thank you for having served our country, Jim.
And I thank also Johnson & Johnson for the financial support too.
Oh, that's wonderful that you have a sponsor for that too. That's great. I am going to see if the media company I work with has done a story or not on veterans, and if not, I will let you know, and I'll interview, set up something with you.
Okay. I thank you very much. Sure. I would be happy to. Okay, folks.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. And we'll see you in a month on October, November. And we'll look forward to hearing about your experience, Judy.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting. And Barbell, hoping you're feeling a lot better. And will you be able to join us if you're in the rehab facility getting your
I
exercise?
have to see because it's the middle of the night. If I'm in a single room, with no other patients there, it will be possible. But if there is another patient in there, it's going to be a problem to getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and doing a support group. So I'll have to see. I can't tell, but I will be for sure at the rehab then because it starts the 17th of October. And so the beginning of November, I will still be there.
Maybe you can ask them if they have a separate room you can go to.
Yeah, I have to see. But in the middle of the night, I don't
Or
know
maybe
what
there'll be
they
other,
think of it. They think,
maybe
she's a bit crazy or what.
Go in the restroom and sit on the commode.
We'll see. We'll see if I can make it.
you should see if there are any other blood cancer patients in there and bring them with you. Yeah, the meeting.
I doubt it. I doubt it because there's not that many cancer patients who go to rehab. They're usually happy they're out of the hospital and don't see anything like a clinic or a doctor or something. They just want to be by themselves.
Well, best wishes with that. I'll send you a note on Facebook to see
Okay.
what you're doing there. Thank you, everyone. And Derek, we
All
hope to
right.
see you again.
Thank you,
Jerry,
Michelle.
great seeing you.
Bye
Al,
bye.
Al, when will you start your stem cell? Do you know yet?
Yeah, I have no idea. We're just waiting to
Okay.
get a call from them and go from there.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
gonna
again,
wait. Yeah, they'll wait and identify your. They'll try to ID a donor for you, and that'll start the clock as to everything going on. That'll
and
be the clock.
yeah, they wanted me to get any dental work done before I go in. So I'm
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yep. 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 Yep.
Well, please have,
All
if
dental
you're
work.
not at our next meeting, please have Bobby keep me updated. I think she has
You
my
got it.
number.
You got it. Thank you, everyone.
Prayers for
Thank
Al.
you.
Prayers for Al.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're in our prayers. Take care.
Bye,
If you need
guys.
anything, call me.
Thank you.
If you want to know about a bike, call me. See ya.
Bye bye.
Is that the guy that